All right, how to improve at day trading for the YouTube. Those with attention. I like this format because I can just spitball, free flow, and y'all are gonna get way more information this way. So let's just talk about it. Let's have a discussion. So journaling, journaling is really about trial and error. That's how you should think of journaling, and that's how backtesting works as well. You come to the market with a theory, you test it, it fails, you improve upon it. That's how this works, right? So where you want to really be focused is on your losses. That's the most important thing you can focus on. Wins don't matter. Missed opportunities are easy to fix, much easier than it is to fix a loss, right? So first of all, your journaling is going to be pretty much useless unless you're focusing on the actual truth, which is sequential SMT, gaps, precision candles, and time. If you don't have those tools, you can't improve. Like if you're using a fucking RSI or something, it doesn't matter how much you journal, you're gonna be fucked for life. So focus on those things, right? That's super critical and it should go without saying. Now, every time you take a loss, what you need to do is explain why you took the loss, excuse me, using those concepts, right? You need to ask yourself the why. The why is the core of improvement. I want you to think of your own chart as an omnipotent mentor because the market is algorithmic. It's never wrong. So you can answer quite literally every question that you have by looking at the chart. You don't need to ask me anything. You don't need to ask anyone else anything. Now, I might be able to speed up your learning process, but I mean, how do you think I figured it out? It was with the chart, right? Again, learning the concepts is only the beginning. So every time something goes wrong, you dig into the chart. There's a technical reason for it. I promise you, for everything. And a lot of people like to cope by saying it's probabilities or it's this or it's that to shirk responsibility. But the truth is, if you lost, you got it wrong. Okay? That's another really, really important piece. Let's write that on the screen. If you lost a trade, you made a mistake. Right? It's amazing how many people will never ever come to this conclusion. So you're already way ahead of the game if you understand this. If you lost a trade, you made a mistake. But that's a beautiful thing, not a bad thing, because that means you can improve, right? So let's talk about it again. I'm gonna repeat this until it's drilled into everyone's mind. If you make a mistake, you turn that error into a question. Let's give an example. I took a long, but it ended up going short, right? Don't write that in your journal. That's what most people write in the journal. I got in at this price, I got stopped at that price. Instead, write about the why. Basically, like you're talking to yourself. You can literally write it down on the page. I bought a 1 hour failure swing, but price went down and it was bullish. I entered long and it went down, right? Why? You literally just write this down and then go back into the chart. And then maybe you'll find that there are certain things that were actually opposing the idea. And then you can integrate that into your understanding. Okay, now going forward, I'm going to screen for things that oppose my idea as well, right? And you do the same for missed opportunities. I was scared of this happening, but it didn't happen. Why didn't it happen? Well, because the 1 hour is more significant than the 15-minute, whatever it may be, right? There are infinite examples of this. This is how you get so good. Is the more you do this, the better you get. It's literally like a 1-to-1 ratio. The more time you spend doing this, the better you'll get. I've spent 5 years doing this. That's why I'm pretty fucking good at this point, right? You need to love taking losses. You need to love it because every single one is an opportunity for improvement. If you don't look at it that way, you have a loser scenario. You will lose forever. Let's see, what else can I talk to you guys about? I would use Notion, by the way. Notion is great. Just a really smooth platform for writing all this stuff down. I probably filled thousands of pages on Notion, not exaggerating whatsoever. It's just a really good way to organize it. Let's get into a specific framework, actually. This will help you guys out a lot. So on Notion or any service you want to use, you can put just like the date as the title, and then you just write about with your approach to the market that day, right? I thought this was going to happen, but this didn't happen. I was scared of this, da da da. And then after the day, that's when you make these. Okay, this is good. That's when you make these categorizations, right? So let's see. Let's give you a specific form. Okay, title, date. Title is the date. And then what to write. We go step by step. How you were feeling emotionally, that's important. I was scared of this. My girl left me, so I was sad, etc. Need to be aware of all these factors. Boom. Okay, what else to write? The technical side, right? What you saw technically in the chart. Whenever I say technically, I'm talking about like the concepts, SMT, PSP, da 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 da, right? What you saw technically in the chart. And then 3, what actually happened. So let's call this what you anticipated. Let's get the spacing going. And then what actually happened, right? And this is where the question comes from, right? I anticipated this, but this happened. Why? Right? You can see how these questions get generated. And then the other thing you want to be writing down, right? At the end of every day and really week, day and week, make note of every loss, missed opportunity, and project. And let's talk more about projects. People might not understand what that means. So a project is something that you can explain before the fact, but you can't explain it after the fact. That's the difference between a project and a missed trade. A missed trade is you knew exactly, you had this expectation of how it was going to pan out. You can explain it perfectly, but you just didn't take it for whatever reason. Maybe you weren't even on the chart. Maybe you weren't paying attention to it at the time. Maybe you were scared. That's a missed opportunity. A project is something that you haven't integrated into your approach yet, but you can explain it in hindsight. So it's like something to work on going forward. Those are fun. So yeah, at the end of every day and week, make note of every loss, missed opportunity, and project, and then of course the why. And you'll start to notice, especially with losses, there are a lot of overlaps of why, right? And this is where you get real breakthroughs in your understanding. But so I would, if I were you, just to summarize this video, you need to take responsibility for every loss because it is your fault. It's an algorithm. I'm not just saying this because it's some like, oh, mentality, take responsibility. No, this is just the truth. And it's a blessing that this is the truth because it means that you can win. It means that you can improve. If this wasn't the case, you would never be able to make money. No one would ever be able to become good at this, right? So anyway, you need to take responsibility for every single win and loss, more importantly, losses, right? But then what do you actually do? If I were you, I'd go into Notion. I would every single day make just the date as the title, write down how I was feeling, what I anticipated technically, what actually happened. And yeah, I mean, you can read it on the fucking screen. I don't need to read it off to you, but this is what I would do. And this is actually very key. When you're back testing, it's the same thing. When you're back testing, you're basically asking these questions to the chart and trying to answer them for yourself. And another very important thing about back testing, do not use this bar replay bullshit. That stuff is, there's no point. The real back testing is looking at the stagnant price chart and explaining what happened to yourself using these concepts, right? So this was a nice 10-minute ramble. I'll just upload this right now, and the real ones will understand that this is an extremely valuable video, probably the most valuable one that I've made. So make use of it. Peace.